What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to go over my review score predictions for Little Nightmares 2. Now, this is my chance to talk about the game like one last time before the game comes out. If you guys have seen, the past videos, I try to predict basically what the game is going to get on Metacritic. What are the things that we're going to see gaming journalists say, both positive and negative about the game? And again, it's just a chance to kind of preview the game one last time before the game comes out. I'm super stoked for this game. It's really the only game in February I'm actually excited for, okay? So I am putting a lot of stock into this game, and I do think it's going to be really good, okay? Before I break down what I think the review score is going to be, most of the people that watch my videos are not actually subscribed. So if you guys are not subscribed, make sure that you do. Make sure you guys hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. And if you guys want to subscribe, I know I'm asking to subscribe to a lot of things. I have a second channel. It's called Podcast Now Plus. I upload one video a day, so much less than here on that channel. So if you guys want to subscribe there, Podcast Now Plus, link for it is in the description below. All right, it actually shocked me, and I like to do this, by the way, with games that are sequels or like part of a franchise. I like to look back at what the other games got, and that kind of helps us figure out maybe what this game is going to get. I was actually shocked at how low, it's not that low, but Little Nightmares, when it came out in 2017, now it's a little rough because Metacritic has it, obviously, and they do it for every game, has it broken up into the platforms that it's in, and they're not all equal in terms of the review score, and they're not all equal in terms of how many sites reviewed them. So Little Nightmares on the PS4 got a 78. I believe that was off of like 52 critics. It actually got higher on PC, got an 81, and on Xbox One, it actually got an 83. But there was I think on PC and on Xbox, it was like 20 people or 20 sites that reviewed it compared to, again, 52 on PS4. So I'm going to go based off of that 78, which, again, is actually kind of shocking. I think the first Little Nightmares is actually insanely good. I think, honestly, this game is going to build off of all of it. Remember, the demo, you actually have played, like, the demo of this game. I watched H2O Delirious, if you guys know who Delirious is on YouTube. I watched him play this game. That was enough for me. My wife has already publicly stated, at least to me, that she will not be playing this game. She probably will not even be watching this game. It gives her too much anxiety. And honestly, I mean, no, when it comes to, again, like talking about how excited I am for this game, I really am. This game really is terrifying in a much different way than most horror games out, okay? I do think Little Nightmares 2 is going to get a much higher score than the first game. I feel like it's going to have some sort of, not like a cult like comeback, or not like maybe even a comeback in general, but I just think people are going to realize a little bit more how special this franchise has become, even though there's only one game, right? And there was the DLC, there was like the complete edition, but the idea of having the Little Nightmares 2 now, I just think it's going to be raised up. I think it gives the developers, right, the people that make this game, I think they are going to learn any mistakes, which honestly, for a game like this, I really don't think there was many things that they did wrong in the first game. Like, I'm not looking for all that much in terms of like big mistakes that I need them to fix. I really don't think there is many. I just want kind of an elevated experience from what we got in the first game. And again, from even that demo, which was like 40 minutes long, they immediately like cranked it up to like 500 in that demo, right? So I do honestly think that it's going to be fine. I think we're going to get a really scary, really tense, really anxiety-inducing kind of game. So to give the review score, I normally give myself around 3 to 4 points that I do. I'm going to say an 83 to an 86, or an 8.3 to an 8.6. I think that's about right. I feel like that, well, an 8.3 or an 83 is literally what it got on Xbox, but again, it didn't have that many people reviewing it. I do think more people, and that's another thing, more people are going to be focusing on this game. So I guess one of two things can happen. Number one, more people realize kind of how special this game is and just how different, because again, like, we even had, when I'm recording this, today when I'm recording this, the Medium's review scores just came out, okay? I think I'm recording this yesterday from when you guys are watching the video. And the Medium, it's getting solid reviews and people are liking it, and it's being talked about as like a different kind of horror game, and we haven't, had these kind of different horror games in a little while. It's been kind of quiet. And so I think Little Nightmares is honestly going to benefit from that, where it comes out, Little Nightmares 2, and people are like, yeah, you know what? Another different kind of horror game, and actually a really good one. So I think the increase of people paying attention to this game is going to either, and I do think it's going to lean this way, but it could do two. It'll either lean towards more people appreciating the different kind of game that this is, and that it's special in that way, and that'll elevate the score, Or I guess they'll look at it and they'll say, we're not all that impressed, and it'll go lower. You know what I mean? It opens it up basically to more criticism. Okay, that's the two things I think can. Honestly, unless it stays literally exactly the same from the first game, which I don't think. I think a sequel is either going to be better, and probably substantially better in a lot of ways, or it's going to take some big steps back that you're going to be able to notice, right? Maybe it tries too hard doing something or whatever, and it ends up backfiring. I do think this one's going to be the positive. So 83 is literally what the Xbox version got, but again, there was not a lot of people. I expect there to be probably, I don't know like the numbers, how many people are going to review this, but I think it's going to be higher across the board. So 83 to an 86, and that puts it in, I would say, a really, really good spot, a really good territory just in general, where, it's not the greatest game ever created. It's maybe not one of the greatest horror games ever made, but it's certainly like up there. You know what I mean? It's definitely upper tier, where it's like there's something special about this game. And again, it when you get a score in the mid 8s, and I'm kind of just going based off of, okay, if it does get these 8 scores, what could be the pros and what could be the cons? Again, I think like originality and doing things different, and the tension and stuff like that, I think that could definitely be a positive. A negative could be maybe too repetitive, maybe too, doing what they did in the first one too much again. Maybe it could be something with story. I mean, in all honesty, like, okay, Little Nightmares looks amazing, like visually, it's a really well-made game. Even what we see so far of Little Nightmares 2, like everything is very, very good about it. Sound design is like off the charts. When you have a horror game, lighting, sound, even like visual graphics, like they're all very, very important things. And again, it does it a different kind of way, but it does it, I would say, a very elite way. This game does it very, very well. So really the only things I can think of is too repetitive. Maybe if you have some sequences that are so good, which is a good thing, but then you have some sequences that are just kind of lagging behind, or some areas, okay, the diversity of what you're doing. And that ultimately is the other thing. You have to make us play the game differently each like level, not each time, but like when you're playing through the game, you don't want to be doing the exact same thing. You don't want to feel like it's the exact same enemy or it's the exact same situation, right? You don't want that every single time. You want to mix things up. So if it falls backwards, okay, if it gets like a mediocre-ish score, if it gets, I mean, whatever you even want to consider mediocre, but if the score is, lower, I could see the problem being diversity, and being that that maybe the areas or the sequence of events or the enemies or whatever is a little too similar. And I will say, it is important for a game like this to mix it up. When you have a game that is so, I would say, reliant on tension and literally anxiety. I mean, if you guys haven't watched it, if you're going in, without seeing anything, like that's probably fun. But even the first game and even what we've seen of this game, like the whole point is, I mean, it is very tense and it's very stressful, and it gives you a lot of anxiety. That's what a lot of these levels are really built to do. If you repeat the same thing over and over again, it could be enemies, because if you face the same enemies over and over and over again for a long period of time, they're not as scary as they would be if you see them one time. You don't really know what to expect. They're there, they're gone, and you move on, and then you face a brand new one. You know what I mean? If you're facing the same one, or it's the same kind of layout of missions, or you're doing the same thing each time, any of that kind of stuff, it takes away. In a way, it actually calms you down, which you do probably want a little of that. I'm not, by the way, saying that you can't have any of that, because in horror movies, even actually Wes Craven has talked about this, horror movies, horror games, horror whatever, you want to have a build-up, but then you have to kind of like expel that and come back down and then go back up. You have to, I think actually, was it like Alfred Hitchcock that said something about that? Like, you need to have a release, but you need to also have a build-up, right? But you can't be on the edge of your seat nonstop. You do need to kind of like let it out, drop down, be okay, and then come up again. And that's literally how horror works. If you're always calm, it's not working, because you don't want that. But if you're always like, if you're literally having a panic attack, that's not what you want. You know what I mean? You have to have some sort of blend. And that's something that horror games, and horror anything, obviously has to deal with, right? That maybe other games actually don't, but actually they do, because same thing with like action. You can't have non-stop. You can't have like a Michael Bay film, because we know how those turn out, right? You need to have a little bit of a calming, you need to have character development, you need to have a story, you need to have situations, and then you build up again, right? So I really do think they're going to pull it off. Nothing really scares me with this, I mean, besides the game itself, but nothing scares me with like what I've seen of like, oh my god, this is going to be like a pure disaster. I really think this game is going to be really, really good, and like I said, I cannot wait to play it. So let me know in the comments below, guys. What do you think? What do you think the review score is going to be? What do you think people are going to say about the game? Are you excited for it? All that stuff, let me know. As always, again, like I said in the beginning, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know all these videos go up. You guys want to subscribe to my second channel, Podcast on Plus. Link for it is in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.